feel terrible for the dead who end up here for eternity. Seems awful. Just what my mother told me. I've also studied a little bit on... When something is trapped in a soul gem, and then the energy is used for powering an enchantment, well, I think it's specifically the black ones. I don't know if the soul cairn takes just any leftover. Look at this place. Do you think anything would want to live here? The only things that can survive here are the ideal masters, the undead, and the souls themselves. Well, if you want to call that living. I don't think anyone's ever met the ideal masters. I'm not even sure anyone... They could be underground, flying above us. They might be the ground, I have no idea. Lots of theories. Some say they feed on them like I feed on blood. Others think they use them as payment to an even higher power, almost like a currency. Whatever they're doing with them, they've been harvesting for millennia. No telling how... Look around you. There are some extremely powerful undead here. Even a necromancer as seasoned as my mother would be willing to spend years trying to gain access to... Exactly. It's a lost art. Most necromancers just raise up whatever bodies are nearby. But bringing something from the soul cairn gives you something much more powerful. Well, that's usually the trick. It's possible to do it through a simple portal, but to finalize the deal, you have to travel here yourself, and most of them never come back. No, but there's no way she would have left it in Tamriel. She wanted to get it as far away from my father as possible. I can't imagine. Then we find out where she hid it, if she's still alive. Well, as alive as she was before. Probably to avoid whatever my father would do to her if he could get his hands on her. Or maybe her plan was to come back, but she was stuck here. We won't know until we find her. Where'd you come from?
Oh, I can smell your blood.
I knew I heard something.
I will drink your blood and feast on your flesh.
Get it now while we can.
Damn Akaviri shaman. How could I know it would trap my soul?
Mother!
Can't be. Serana?
Is it really you? I can't believe it. How do we get inside? We have to talk.
Serana, what are you doing here? Where's your father?
He doesn't know we're here. I don't have time to explain.
I must have failed. Harkon's found a way to decipher the prophecy, hasn't he?
No, you've got it all wrong. We're here to stop him. To make everything right.
Wait a minute. You've brought a stranger here? Have you lost your mind?
No, you don't...
You, come forward. I would speak with you.
So how has it come to pass that a vampire hunter is in the company of... It pains me to think you'd travel with Serana under the guise of her protector in an effort to hunt me down. Coming from one who murders vampires as a trade, I find it hard to believe your intentions are noble. Serana has sacrificed everything to prevent Harkon from completing the prophecy. I would have expected her to explain that. You think I'd have the audacity to place my own daughter in that tomb for the protection of her elder? The scrolls are merely a means to an end. The key to the tyranny of the sun. When I fled Castle Volkihar, I fled with 2 Elder Scrolls. The scroll I presume you found with Serana speaks of Ariel and his arcane weapon. The second scroll declares that the blood of Cold Harbor's daughter will blind. Like myself, Serana was a human once. We were devout followers of Lord. Tradition dictates the females be offered to Molig Bal on his summoning day. We call such confluences the Daughters of Cold Harbor. Now you're beginning to see why I wanted to protect Serana, and why I've kept the other elders. If Harkon obtained Ariel's bow, and Serana's blood was used to taint the weapon, the tyranny of... In his eyes, she'd be dying for the good of all vampires. And how exactly do you plan on stopping him? If you believe that, then you're a bigger fool than I originally suspected. Don't you think I weighed that option before I enact? You care nothing for Serana, or our plight. Whether or not you've become one of us in order to survive the Soul Cairn, you're here because we're abominations in your mind. Evil creatures that need to be destroyed. Serana, this stranger aligns herself with those that would hunt you down and slay you like an animal. Yet I should entrust you to her.
This stranger has done more for me in the brief time I've known her than you've done in centuries.
How dare you? I gave up everything I cared about to protect you from that fanatic you call a father.
Yes, he's a fanatic. He's changed. But he's still my father. Why can't you understand how that makes me feel?
Oh, Serana, if you'd only open your eyes. The moment your father discovers your role in the prophecy, that he needs your blood, you'll be in terrible danger.
So to protect me, you decided to shut me away from everything I cared about. You never asked me if hiding me in that tomb was the best course of action. You just expected me to follow you blindly. Both of you were obsessed with your own paths. Your motivations might have been different, but in the end, I'm still just a pawn to you too. I want us to be a family again. But I don't know if we can ever have that. Maybe we don't deserve that kind of happiness. Maybe it isn't for us. But we have to stop him, before he goes too far. And to do that, we need the Elder Scroll.
I'm sorry, Serana. I didn't know. I didn't see. I've allowed my hatred of your father to estrange us for too long. Forgive me. If you want the Elder Scroll, it's yours. Your intentions are still somewhat unclear to me. But for Serana's sake, I'll assist you in any way that I can. Yes, I've kept it safely secured here ever since I... Fortunately, you're in a position to breach the barrier that surrounds these ruins. You need to locate the tallest of the rocky spires that, at their bases, the barrier's energy is being drawn. Destroy the keepers that are tending them, and it should bring the barrier down. One more word of warning. There's a dragon that calls itself... The Ideal Masters have charged him with overseeing the Keepers, and will undoubtedly intervene if you're perceived as a threat. Harkon's vision is a world plunged in eternal darkness, where the vampire can... What he fails to realize is how much attention would be if eternal night fell. There are many who wouldn't stand for it. The order of the day would be our destruction, until... Our doom. It's how the vampire has survived for millennia, and the only way we can continue to survive in the future. As you've been traveling in the Soul Cairn, your body has become attuned to it. Let's just say a tiny part of you rubbed off on it. You should find no difficulty using the portal any longer. When I entered the Soul Cairn, I had intended to strike a bargain with the Ideal Masters. I requested refuge in the Soul Cairn, and in exchange, if I had foreseen the value they placed on my own soul, I would never have come. The Ideal Masters unleashed their Keepers and sent them to destroy me. Fortunately, I was able to hold them at bay and retreat into these rooms. Unfortunately, yes. Since the Keepers weren't able to claim my soul, they had their minion. Time has very little meaning to me. Consequently, it has little meaning to the Ideal Masters as well. I suppose you could call this the ultimate waiting game, each watching the other to see which will give in. I know very little about them. They're mystic entities that lord over the Soul Cairn, controlling... Well, some necromancers believe they are the crystalline structures dotting the Soul Cairn. I believe there's more to it than that. I think they transcend what we perceive as a physical... Perhaps they were once corporeal beings, but they've obviously reached a point where they no longer require a temple. Conduits, through which the Ideal Masters speak to their underlings and feed on their victims. The Ideal Masters' weakness is their insatiable hunger. It's the reason for the Soul Cairn's existence, and the only leverage and the ability to summon powerful undead guardians, as one would conjure an... However, the majority of necromancers that are foolish enough to enter into a bargain with the Ideal Masters wind up here.
Let's kill
as
those
harvested
keeper
souls
things and get back to the prison.
and keep my daughter safe.
I can't believe we found my mother alive. Relieved, I think. All those things had been building for a while. You have no idea how long I wanted... Look, I loved my father, but when he found that prophecy, that became his life. I was close with my mother, but she just kept feeding me her opinions of him, and eventually I started believing them. The moment we gave ourselves to Molik Bal, things got really icy between them. They were both drunk with power, and pulling in different directions. And then he found that prophecy, and... that was it. I was. Honestly, it took me up until now to figure out that my mother was really just as bad as he was. He was obsessed with power. She was obsessed with seeing him fail. It was just... maybe I could have seen this coming. We could all be better off now. You don't know what it's like, coming from a family like that. Everything eventually tumbles down. Anyway, we should keep moving. This better not be all the things you just can't be bothered with.
Oh, I can smell your blood. I will feast on you. know I can stop your mistake.
Stay back. No, no more.
I'll kill you where you stand.
get out of this place, the better.
You managed to destroy all 3 keepers? Very impressive. You managed to destroy all... Yes. Please, keep watch for Durnevere. With the prison's barrier down, he's almost certain to investigate.
I hear something. Where'd you come from?
forgive my astonishment, but I never thought I'd witness the death of that dragon. Volumes written on Dawnguard allege that he can't be slain by normal means. Unless... the soul of a dragon is as resilient as its owner's scaly hide. It's possible that your killing blow has merely displaced Dawnguard's physical form while he reconstitutes himself. Minutes, hours, years, I can't even begin to guess. Now, let's get you the Elder Scroll and you can be on your way. What did you want? What did you want?
That's it. That's the last scroll. Come on, let's take it to Dexion. I can't believe we found my mother alive. Well, you know.
Now that you've retrieved the Elder Scroll, you should be... So my daughter applied some of the lessons I taught her about necromancy, did she? Don't worry. I think I can help you. Your soul essence was trapped inside a gem. When you and Serana entered the Soul Gate, you simply need to retrieve the gem. The moment you touch it, there's an offering altar not terribly far from here. I'm willing to bet that the gem... Is there anything else? Could be your last chance. I have no choice. As I told you before, if I return to Tamriel, that increases Harkon's likelihood of bringing the tyranny of the sun to fruition. I appreciate your concern for me, but Serana is all that I care about. You must remember that Harkon is not to be trusted, no matter what he promises. And promise me you'll keep my daughter safe. She's the only thing of value I have left. Did you have anything to ask before you depart? Even if I could, it would only serve to hinder. Harkon would likely sense my return to Tamriel. The last thing you need... Like Serana, I am a daughter of Cold Harbor. A vampire offspring of my presence in Tamriel would simply double the risk that Harkon could complete. The only way I'd even consider returning to Tamriel was if Harkon were not only to fail. You must understand, he's no longer the man I married all. He's obsessed. Insane. Everyone... For all of this to end, he needs to die. Farewell. Remember that Harkon's not to be trusted.
I'm glad we found the scroll. I wish she could come with us. The sooner we get the scroll home, come on, let's go home.
Stay your weapons. I would speak with you, Quinarin. Cursed, not dead. Doomed to exist in this form for eternity. Trapped between Laas and Enoch. The hostility was necessary. I was bound to an oath. I believe in civility among seasoned warriors. My claws have rendered the flesh of innumerable foes, but I therefore honor name you Quinarin, or Vanquisher in your tongue. Your words do me great honor. My desire to speak with you was born from the result. I merely wish to respectfully. For countless years I've roamed the Soul Cairn Before this, I roamed the skies above Tamriel. I fear that my time here has taken its toll upon me. If I ventured far from the Soul Cairn, my strength would begin to wane until I was no more. I will place my name with you, and grant you the right to call my name from Do me this simple honor, and I will fight at your side as your Graze Mazen. Trivial in your mind, perhaps. For me, it would mean a great deal. I don't require an answer, Quinarin. Simply speak my name to the heavens when you feel the time is right. In my language, the Quinarin is the Vanquisher, the one who has bested a fellow Dova in battle. Even in the Soul Cairn, the defeat of the World Eater has reached my ears, Dovahkiin. You may not be Dova, but the defeat of Alduin earns you the right of title. There was a time when I called Tamriel my home. But the Dova roamed the skies, vying for their small slices of territory. I was. But unlike some of my brethren, I began to explore what the Dova call Elok Dilan, the ancient The Ideal Masters assured me that my powers would be In return, I was to serve them as a keeper until the death of... I discovered too late that the Ideal Masters favor deception over honor. They had control of my mind, but fortunately they're free. No. I have been here too long. The Soul Cairn has become a part of what I am. I only hope that you will allow me the precious moments of time there, through your call.
Glad we found the squirrel. I wish you could come with us. I'm glad we found the squirrel. I wish you could come with us.
His soul is free. He's such a loyal beast. He'll help you get around this wretched place. But I'm sure he'd be much happier someplace sunnier. Goodbye, hero. Take good care of Arvak for me. Such a good horse.
I'm glad we found the scroll. I wish she could come with us.
I'm going to enjoy this.
There you are.
get to the Cloud District very often. What am I saying?
It's so... Here.
I knew it would come to this one day. I knew. And
I
no
trust
one
your
believed.
journey was successful. I'm sorry, my friend. I can no longer be of use in this matter. It's my fault. In my haste to read the first scroll, I neglected the careful... I thought I'd be able to allay the after effects, but I was wrong. Now I am paying... Blind? Yes, I'm afraid so. No, it will have to run its course, and there's always the chance I may never recover. No, there is another way. The question is, how much are you willing to risk to find Oriel's bow? I can't guarantee you'd be free from harm. Becoming blind could be the least of your worries. Scattered across Tamriel are secluded locations known only as Ancestor Glades. There's one in Skyrim in the Pine Forest. Performing the ritual of the Ancestor Moth within the glade should provide the answers you seek. It involves carefully removing the bark from a canticle tree, which will in turn attract Ancestor Moths. Once enough of the moths are following, they'll provide you with the second sight needed to decipher the scrolls. In keeping with tradition, you must use a specific tool in the Ancestor Glade. Every moth priest is taught this ritual, but few ever get the chance to perform it. You should consider yourself fortunate if it... From what I saw in the vision, the Elder Scroll which foreshadows the defiance of the gods with the blood of mortals is the key to the prophecy. Sadly, yes. It is the inevitable fate we agree to pursue when reading the Elder Scrolls. It generally does not occur until a moth priest is in his latter years, but in my case, deciphering one of the Elder Scrolls is nothing like reading a simple book. It can take months or even years to complete a single scroll, and even then, months to recover. Well, as I'm sure you figured out by now, it's no mere coincidence that we're named... Good luck. I hope you find the answers you seek.
I hope we reach Ancestor Glade soon.
I've helped you all that I can. The rest is up to you. Well, as I'm sure you figured out by now, it's no mere coincidence that we're named Moth Priests. The voice of the Ancestor Moth has always been an integral part of reading the Elder Scrolls. Oh, the Moths don't literally read the scrolls, but they maintain a connection to ancient magic that, if you listen closely when you find the glade, you should be able to hear their song, a soft... It's through this ancestral chorus that the Moths tap into a form of primal augur. By having the Ancestor Moths close to the Moth Priest, they can utilize the conduit and share the Moth's augur. Only the most resilient of priests can do it this way. It takes years of practice to interpret the harmony. You've come this far, and you've found several Elder Scrolls. Whether you believe it or not, the scrolls have a mind of their own. If they did not want you to find them, because of this, I strongly believe you were meant to hear the ancestral chorus. Only one way to find... It is our sacred duty to study the Elder Scrolls. We read these ancient scrolls of prophecy in order to divine the future. Sometimes, we venture out into the world in search of more scrolls. That is the very purpose that first brought me to Skyrim. It is the great spire at the heart of the Imperial City, among the tallest towers in all. The lower floors are home to the Imperial Council, and the Order of Moth Priests are... The tower suffered damage in the recent war with the Aldmeri. I hope one day to see it restored to its former glory. Not as much as I would like, even after spending decades of my life in study. It's true for most of my brothers in the Order as well. What we do know is that some are born with a special gift. These chosen few can divine events of the past and future within the scrolls. Though in time, I'm afraid there's not much more to tell. Even today, the Elder Scrolls remain a great enigma. Good luck. I hope you find the answers you seek.
I knew it would come to this one day. Be on your guard at all times. Avoid sleep if you can. Well, at least you're smart enough to want to learn more.